with Coach Alessio
and Coach TC.
New season of BR Wars. We want to focus on coaches' tips. So today we are with head coach Alessio and technical director of VR.
Yep.
We have been riding lately in Alcudra together, and the comments that we were making about athletes were various depending on what we could see. You know, you've been riding for 30 years now, so you just see an athlete and you can see where they're making mistakes. Exactly. What are the common mistakes that athletes are doing these days, and how can they fix them?
Well, I think the biggest mistake of the athletes is the fear of falling. So starting from the fear of falling, they have other mistakes. So they are pretty tense on the bike. So straight arms, they are not soft. And I think that the bike is like a horse, no? It feels you. So if you are nervous, something gonna happen.
Something could happen, let's say.
Could, yeah. Usually not good. But regarding this, I think the position is very important, because if you are very tense and stiff, then you change the position. The balance in the bike is not optimal. This is the first mistake, in my opinion, because also, as you say, is the first thing we can say. You can see in the beginning, no? Yeah. Even when you pass someone, okay, maybe this guy is not confident enough.
As you said, it's something that we discussed right away when we were riding a few weeks back, and also this week. Effectively, you can realize right away that the body is too tense, and it's a matter of body awareness. Principally, most of the athletes, many athletes start riding in old age. Let's say we started riding with mountain bikes or even, simpler bikes, and that effectively helps the skills, the handling. So, I use it for flying. Fly with two fingers, not like you are trying to rip the aircraft. The controls from the airplane, it works as well with the bicycle.
Yeah.
You also mentioned the position. Okay, there is always a big attention to the fitting, to the bike positioning. What is the understanding of the athlete of fitting? Because we see them, sometimes, wiggling their hips a lot, or we see them moving the feet, which is a sign of probably the saddle too high. Do they really stick to the fitting, or then they move around? Because that's not like a fixed position.
Yeah, I think there are two categories of cyclists, and in this case, triathletes. The self-fitter, okay, because they open Instagram or whatever, and they see the pros, and they want to replicate the same position of the pros. And the second category is the guys who go to the bike fitter, and of course they trust 100%, which is, in my opinion, correct, but also a feedback, and again, body awareness, that you can adjust or give some feedback to the bike fitter is very important. And you see some guys that they don't have this process to change completely position on a bike gradually, so especially if they are not very flexible, you see a very aerodynamic position, but it cannot be hold for too long.
Yes. Plus, you are in a fitted position, but there is margin to move to get in a more comfortable position. So sometimes you see them moving on the saddle, and then one thing that I notice sometimes is like, sitting a little bit too forward and raising the head, so that now it's like, but my hands are numb, and my feet are numb. Why? Yeah, because you're squashing your spine effectively. So the bike fitting, an aggressive bike fitting, I think it's an end game of where you should be in a certain time. It's not like, okay, this bike fit done, and then you go there and now you can pedal. No. what I tell my athletes is like, okay, at least start with 10 minutes in that position and then rest. Okay, but keep it soft. Okay, keep it
Yeah.
soft on the aero bar, and then try again so that next sortie you ride a little bit in an aerodynamic position a little bit longer and so on, because it takes time. I mean, for me personally, if I am not on the TT bike for a long time, it takes 6 months to get back in an aerodynamic position to hold it like for a 70.3 distance. Otherwise, I'm just riding a TT bike like a normal road bike.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I remember last year or 2 years ago, I remember when Christian Blumenfeld did Ironman Cozumel and a world record at the time. And one of his sessions was to just hold the position for 4, 5, 6 hours. Because you say the race there, that's a very specific session, because it's a race specific for that race. Because he knew that race is flat, so he had to hold the position for, in his case, 4 hours. But if he couldn't, hold the position for 4 hours, everything else was useless, because then he has to stand, then rest a little bit, slow down, and then speed up again. And especially for that level, it's very important. And another thing, again, regarding Blumenfeld, is that his position, I read a lot of criticism because it's not very aerodynamic, but at some point is a compromise between power output and aerodynamic. Because again, then you have to run at least 21, in case of Ironman 70.3 or 42K. So it's a balance again.
It's a balance. For triathletes, it's a balance. And people look at Ghana and they say, "Oh, look at this position." Yeah, but you cannot hold it for 180 kilometers. I mean, that athlete is doing that for a living. Okay?
Yeah.
You are doing, first of all, another job. Second, you have a bike, and third, you're doing triathlon. Okay, very good. So now you need to adjust and get a good balance. Obviously we have a few beginners in the team. What are the basic skills that athletes are missing nowadays?
I think the first one probably is to don't be able to drink while riding. So one hand, grab your bottle, drink, and do it safely. Okay, so without looking back and stop and go right and left. This is probably the biggest and the most basic. The second is the gear.
Changing the right gear.
Changing the right gear at the right time. And I saw people with the fixie bike, basically.
Which is a good workout.
It's a good workout, but it's a skill that you should know, because now here you are pretty, lucky because it's flat. But if you go somewhere else with a small hill or a small downhill,
or it's windy. When it's a windy day, you start with the big gear, then
it's an issue.
Yeah.
So this is another one. And then, but it's just practice, is the cleats, the cycling shoes. And even here, I heard a lot of athletes very scared of cycling shoes because I'm gonna fall. Maybe in the beginning, I think 99% of cyclists fell, but this is something that you have to do, because the pedal stroke with the cycling shoes is much more efficient than.
I still remember my first fall on cleats. It was on mountain bike in 1997, brand new mountain bike, and we were like, okay, let's use the cleats. It's the final frontier of cycling. And until we're going uphill, it's all good. Then wrong gear, and then I fell down from the hill, like rolling down with the bike attached to my cleats. And like, okay, from then on, like a little bit of fine tuning, but not everybody has the skills of managing.
This is maintenance.
I think also this one is a pretty. It's not a mistake, but it's a weak area of athletes when it comes to changing tires or to do a little bit of fine tuning when you show up in the morning and the bike shop is not open. You need to be ready to change a little bit of things, tune the cleats, the pedals, or tune your power meter. there is a lot of technology obviously involved in it, a lot of devices attached to the computers now. You have the bracelet, you have the whoop, you have the heart rate monitor, you
Power
have
meter,
the power meter, the lights, you have everything. So
yes.
it becomes a lot of work. So if people are not up to speed with the good sequence, then
Yeah, but it's also nice to be, self-sufficient.
no, exactly.
Yeah, don't rely every time, as you said, on a bike shop or the mechanic or.
I remember this guy wanted to do a Ironman, was it Hamburg with the disc wheel. I said, how many times have you been riding with the disc wheel?
Never.
Okay, good for you. It shows up there, and the disc wheel most of the times need this L joint.
Yes.
For the
to pump it up,
for the
no?
pump. He didn't have it, so now he's panicking because he's like, I have the tire is completely deflated. I said, dude, what? Like
Wait.
breathe. You're gonna get there, okay? Because obviously in the race, bike shops are prepared for this, but the reality is it's a lot of work. As coaches, we need to obviously give a little bit of fine tuning and a little bit of help.
You also have to know. Sorry, Thomas. You also have to know the guy, because you know that at some point he's gonna do that mistake.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's experience.
I mean, we're pretty lucky in Dubai, obviously, with the Al-Qudra cycle track and Maiden. They do not require, let's say, high levels of skills on the bike. If you're coming from mountain bike, easy. But if you start riding here, you're always spinning in the same direction, or the only problem could be the wind, or could be the groups. So that's another thing I think I see when we're riding in the group. Our philosophy is to do the warm-up together and then, split for everybody's workout. But then in the moment that we're riding as a group, there is a lot of etiquette coaching that we need to do.
Yes, exactly.
What do you see is probably the most dangerous happening there?
The most dangerous probably is not proper rotation. So when you are in front, especially when you ride in pairs, as you say, during the warm-up we ride in pairs, and after, depends of the session, but every 3 or 5 minutes you have to rotate. So the guys in front, we move to the side and go behind. You can see even there, who is afraid of do something wrong or who is confident. So if the process is not smooth and pretty quick, it's gonna be dangerous. Also because the track is 2 ways, double way. So if some other riders is coming to the opposite direction, it's gonna be very very dangerous. Then another thing is if you have, for example, trees or something that you have to point the danger, and otherwise the rider, the cyclist behind you is gonna hit the obstacle in.
So there are signs, obviously, like to give the obstacle. But of course, if the athlete has problems to grab the bottle, imagine to give you a sign for an obstacle. So you still have voice, like tree or rider up, or passing. This kind of information can be passed also with voice. So it shouldn't be an issue. I mean, it's good that every time we ride, we focus on briefing, before the execution, so that we brief a little bit some of these rules so that everybody can get up to speed. And it's good that we see improvements also with the beginner athletes, and it's good for the team.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, guys, for listening. This is BR Words, Coach's Tip. Today we talked about bicycle mistakes and how to fix them with head coach Alessio
and coach TC.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.